Now, I'm sure Sarah approving the planning application for the Fustastica expansion has got nothing to do with her mishap, but here we are. The new area represents the most expensive expansion since the Viking area, and more excitingly, Mack have been seen on site delivering some very exciting new things, which is weird, because everyone else was expecting Gerstlauer for some reason. This investment makes absolute sense after a few seasons of smaller, space-squeezing, time-buying attractions. It's time for the park to step up into the bigger leagues, as the next 3 park updates are significant ones. Time to take Fustastica seriously. Hello you guys, welcome back to Fustastica, welcome back to Planet Coaster 2, thank you so much for coming along for the ride. This is our park that we are building up over a span of time where we are taking considered decisions. Budget, target audience, space within the park, because we are using an existing map. And over the last couple of weeks we have literally been using the extra space. We put something here, we then developed at the front of the park, and then last week we put in the one single ride for that season, the Collider, which we're pretending has been in since the beginning. Anyway, we don't talk about that. We put in one ride last week, but until now we've avoided all kinds of sprawl, and that's about to change because we are coming down here for this week's episode. And you can see that we've got ourselves a Mack. Well, at the moment it's a Big Dipper. We will talk about that in a moment. I backed myself into a corner. I had designed these 2 Eurofighters, and that's exactly what I wanted in this space. Something small, something cheap, but something thrilling. I am going to reject these 2 layouts, and I will put these on the workshop for you guys to download. They're actually pretty decent on the throughput. But let's talk about this little bad boy, because it's a Mack Big Dipper, and I've swapped out the trains. I know these as the Tiamat trains, but I have swapped out the trains. There's a whole world of stuff going on here because well, let's just briefly talk about it. You could use the B&M Flawless trains to represent the same thing, but I've actually gone for the wing trains because that feels more right. I've also gone for 4 rows to make it a Big Dipper, but actually if you do 3 rows, that turns it back to a Eurofighter. I didn't even know that, but apparently that's a thing. And then 2 rows, that's a Stryker. That's Helios, basically. So that's what I've done on that. So let me put this to test. We've got the lift hill here, and then comes into the first drop. Now, because we use the 4-meter method in Planet Coaster, and the scale of these coasters is this kind of scale, it's a bit difficult to do the first drop properly, but I mean, I'll take that it's imperfect. It does what it needs to do, so I'm okay with that. I'll tidy it up, but it's fine. Then we come into the airtime hill, into an outer banked curve, outer banked turn, into 0G roll, and then into this little turnaround that comes into a double down, into another outer banked curve, into a barrel roll drop. Oh my god, that's so difficult to say. And then it comes into this little snake pass. Absolutely love that snake pass because it's really whippy. So whippy. And then it comes through underneath itself into a little bit of another snaky bit for some laterals, and then into the final brake run. Happy days. So let's talk area and what I am thinking, because we're going for steampunk. So yeah, we're going for a steampunk theme. Now, if you are expecting Roxburgh or looking for Roxburgh, you're going to need to look elsewhere because this is budget wise, right? But it's going to be considered. So anyway, I want the exit path to come underneath the lift hill and then come around here. And I don't want to just do like a small building, right? Like a small square building. I actually want to do something relatively decent. So of course we're going to have the photo shop that's going to take that sort of space. Then I want to have this little entrance area here, as if you could turn right into the photo shop and left into the gift shop. And then I want to have a square gift shop like this, because when you look at the design of steampunk buildings, you actually get some really nice intricate designs. So I kind of want that kind of design. However, on the other side, I am going to need to lean into the square buildings. Now, I'll be able to do some fascias and whatever, but we're going to need other things, right? So we're going to need a cafe for the area. And I think it's going to need to be relatively big because it's going to need to service the entire area, right? So I think we're probably looking at something like that. And then we're also going to need cha-cha toilets, which we know how we do my toilets. They're always 9 squares because of the way that we have to do the in-game stuff. So fine, I'm okay with that. Now, the area needs another ride. It needs something in here. We've got a couple of options, right? You can choose the sundial. That's easily themed to cogs, right? You could quite easily theme that. So there you go. That would sit there quite nicely. But that's very similar to the afterburner. So I kind of don't want to do that. The collider is the other one that fits quite nicely. But we did that last week. So, guys, we can't do that. So I think you probably know where I'm going with this one. It's going to be the synchronize, isn't it? You can quite easily theme that. And it's going to sit quite nicely there. So this is going to be a big plaza. And I'm going to have like bits of like portals and whatever, entry points and focal points and that sort of stuff. And then the queue line for the ride is probably realistically going to take up this sort of space there. So that's what I'm thinking at the moment. Right, I need to go and build. I am going to bring all this to life, and I will see you in a minute. Right, guys, you're going to have to bear with me here because this isn't quite the middle part of the episode. As you can see, it's not ready to be presented to you yet. But what I do want to do is, whilst things are in a deconstructed state, I want to do a live play because I'm starting to do a lot more detailing down here than I actually anticipated that I was going to do. And I want to be able to talk you through some of my thought processes that I've got going on here, right? So we're going for some kind of like factory style building here, and this is the whole idea of the not square building that I was going for, right? So I'm using the corrugated roof here to give a slightly different roof texture and a roof shape, but then of course we've got the pitched roof here, and I've got some kind of metal girders. It's actually a resort balcony that I want to make it feel like it's some kind of, I don't know, like lattice work, almost like support framework and stuff. And then all I'm doing here is I'm taking the corrugated roof that's come with the Western pack, and I am just then doing this, right? So this is how I'm making it's almost like a custom roof because we don't have the pieces in-game for me to be able to do this eave that I want here, which I am going to recolor and stuff. This is just me playing around and toying. Then I've also wanted to have like this little bit of jutting out brick, you know, like I didn't want it just to be a flat wall. I wanted it to be something. However, what this now means is I can start to make this more steampunk by putting pipes on the wall, right? So steampunk is all about the pipes. So if I take this pipe, for example, and I align it to this wall like this, straight away you're starting to get that industrial feel. Now I can also resize this as well. So if I take this down slightly, I can start to do like this kind of effect, and then I can get this one. Oh, what's 62? So I take this one again. It's copied it across to 62. No, let's try that again with the snap on 62. There we go. There we go, there we go. So I can do something like that. Now that gives me my basic of pipes on the outside, right? However, what you tend to find is that these buildings also have pipes that wrap around. Like the whole idea of Victoriana and industrial Victoriana is actually quite fascinating. It's quite fun to put together, but it's also really, really intricate. So this is the kind of thing that we're going for here. And now I just need my straight pipe back to 62. And now pull this here like so. And then I'm going to pull this one back down here, because this is how it feels like it should be. He says. There you go, right? So that's the kind of vibe that I'm going for there. Now, of course, I need to do a little bit more work and stuff. However, what I wanted to also talk about is this bit here. So this isn't going to be a door. This isn't a door into the gift shop. This is the door into the gift shop. But I do want it to act as if it is a door. So I'm going to do that. But on top of here, I'm going to have something like a boiler or something like that, right? Because again, this is this whole industrial complex style thing. So if I choose the boiler, again, the Western pack, thank heavens, has come with the boiler that came with the train. So what I can do is I can make that much bigger, like this. And now I can get that cage ladder. You know, the one that came that I was all excited. No, that's bladder. Don't search for that. Don't search for that. This one here, right? And now I can attach this to the boiler, So if I put snap back on and just increase the scale slightly, there we go. So I can do like this kind of effect. Of course I'm going to recolor it and stuff, but now that will then go ahead and live on the roof here, right? So that's now kind of what I'm starting to think, and this is now actually starting to come together as I think I want it. Now, as I'm looking at this, I actually think maybe this needs to come out even further like that, and maybe there needs to be a smaller boiler here. So I reduce the size here. Maybe there needs to be a smaller boiler there, sticking out the roof. Okay, right, so I've got a slight problem here that I now need to deal with because it's creating a bit of a bottleneck, but that's fine. I can deal with that. I can cope with that. That's fine. So anyway, that's kind of what I'm thinking of in that space right now, and that's kind of how I'm going about theming stuff. I'm doing this slightly differently because I'm doing theming and stuff elements before I'm doing it. I need to find a way of dirtying this up as well. I think some of the dirt decals or the damage decals will help. Anyway, I just wanted to show you that before I did the middle part. I will see you in a moment. Oh yes, we have many, many, many steampunk things to show you because, my god, this is coming together so well. And we'll do a live play bit in a minute, but let's just do a quick tour of what I've done so far. So this is how that building that I was designing in the last update now looks. And, yes. Of course, it needs finishing. It needs touching up, and it needs the full interior. Whoops. Let's try that again, shall we? It needs the full interior doing, but this is how the photo unit for now is looking. This is how the very sparse gift shop is looking, and then this is the space that the gift shop will take up. But it's the outside where I've done the most work, which makes a change because I normally do the other way around, right? I normally do the inside first and then do the outside. So yeah, I love it. I love it. Like, it's just the pipe work and stuff. And of course, the answer to pipe work, which you're going to see in the building I'm going to show you in a minute, the answer to the pipe work is there is no answer. Like, you just do you and be done with it. Just start with a pipe and just see where it goes. And yeah, you end up with something that looks fairly decent. Now, what's changed from here? I added the extra boiler. Of course, I did that as part of the live play, so that's all good. The chimney that's just made up of the concrete columns that you use for these custom supports and stuff, and then of course you've seen all the rest around here. I've just tidied it up. The windows, I actually replaced these with arches. It felt like this needed some kind of sunlight, some kind of way of seeing in. Now, I have created a slight problem, and that's in the sense that this feels like it should be a doorway rather than this being the doorway. So I am toying with the idea of it being a doorway. Right now, I'm still not sold, but I think I might end up making it a doorway, and I think then it also solves the problem that I've created here, so I think that's what's going to happen. So in terms of the station, this was the first thing that was in, right? And it was in the last update I just didn't show you. I have taken inspiration from Les Rocket Racers, Les Space, I can't remember what it's called. It's one in France anyway, that's themed around steampunk and whatever, and the station is just it's perfect for ripping off, right? So it's very based on it. It's not identical, but yeah, it is. So yeah, that's the station. But I just wanted the idea of these columns here, and then I've used the wood, the jetty wood on the inside here, and then these are just the normal planks, and then these are the western ones, the western pillars. Oh my god, I am so glad to have those back. And now that they're resizable, I can actually do stuff like this. And, oh, yes. So, queue line. Two types of fences on this one. As always, there is the one that uses the jetty fence on the outside here. And then the western fence ones inside here. This one is taken inspiration from Samurai at Thought Park's queue. So, that, yeah, I like it. I like it. And then, of course, you just got the perimeter fence around here that's going to need all of its signage and stuff. And then the ride area, I'm just dealing with how that's going to go. It's going to need customer supporting, and I have a problem here. Yeah, I have created a problem here. I need to find a way of supporting this section of track, which is an outer banked curve and there's a maintenance area underneath it. There's a transfer track underneath it. I just don't know what the answer is beyond making this the maintenance track instead. So I don't know. I'm going to need to play that one out. The ride, the synchronizer here, it's all done. Well, it's not all done at all, but it's got... That's a massive lie. You can see with your own eyes that it's not done. So I've done the queue. That's what I mean. So the same fencing style and stuff, and I'm happy. I'm happy with how that's turning out so far. It's going to need foliage and stuff around it to make it come to life. And of course, I'm going to do some more theming, but I've just started by putting the cogs on there. And you know what? Even if I didn't do any more to it, that still looks all right. It still looks decent enough. However, this is where the most of the work has happened, and this is all sorts of stuff, right? You've got the classic brick wall with the resort balcony, I think it is, panel, and then you've just got some corrugated iron steel roofing, and then you've got lots of pipes. And as I said, the answer to the pipes is there is no answer. You just make it up. This bit juts out, and I've just got like a balcony here that's just supporting it, and then the column supports the concrete columns here just to bring it to life a little bit. And then of course I've just copied across the Juliet style balcony and the supports here, so it's not actually a flat wall, not like this suggests. This is there's lots of contours to it, lots of stuff, but I think it comes to life with the awnings here. It was an accident that it just came about, and I was like, I wonder what it would look like if I just put the western striped awnings on there, and it actually works. But it's this stuff at the top here, because it's just all industrial, and it just makes no sense, but it doesn't have to make sense. It just has to all be connected and feel like it goes somewhere. So we've got water towers, and we've got boilers, and we've got chimneys and all sorts, and you kind of get the feeling for what's going on in here. And then inside, I've actually decided to make this one long building. It's wider than I first originally showed you. And yeah, it's going to be food unit, and then this is all going to be seating, because I think this is going to be quite a busy part. Now, for the live play part, I want to do a window type thing here, right? So what I'm thinking is I'm going to get one of the girders and do something similar to what I did over the other side, right, on the other building. But this is a slightly different window. So I'm going to do like some kind of a windowsill like this. Then I'm going to take the fence post that I've used. What's it called? The metal resort fence, isn't it? That I've used as the bracing on the other side, on the other building. So, what's it called? Fence post. No. It's one of these. There it is. This one, and I'm just going to resize this, and I'm going to put this in here, right? So that's going to go there. So this is going to become almost like the window panes, almost. And then I'm just going to take this and copy it up like that, like that, like that. This is going to need so much tidying up. So much tidying up. And then we're going to want the cross bracings like this. And then let's copy this up as well. So that's now actually creating the type of window effect that I think I want in that kind of area. So I'll tidy that up, and I'm going to place them on the windows, put the glass in, and finish the interior. Now, there's another thing that we need to do. We've got another problem. Because I've used the Barquest, or it's not Barquest, is it? Whatever the Eurofighter model is called in Planet Coaster 2, this doesn't have any kind of catwalk on it. There's just no way of doing it. So we're going to need to create our own. So this is what I'm thinking. And it's going to need, because it's the Big Dipper, it's going to need catwalks either side because it's a wing coaster. So I think I'm going to use the same or a very similar support thing, right? That's this one. I'm just going to make it bigger and align it to the lift hill, and then bring it down here, and then I think it's going to need to be sort of out here, and then leads down like that, and then leads up like that. Can't just have the one, it's going to need supporting. So if we do that, now this is where I wish we had the sci-fi stuff because of the tread plate. So instead, I think I'm going to be able to use this corrugated sheet because I used this before. Corrugated sheet. There you go. I used this before. So if we now place it like this, it's probably going to need to be resized as well, isn't it? Because otherwise it's going to be too big. So let's take the size down. I think we can probably do something in that kind of arena. If I move that, right? That's kind of looking catwalky, right? That's kind of looking escape stairs. I'll make something of it. I think it's going to be a bit of a task, but I think that's going to work. We'll see. But as I said, it's going to need a little bit of custom supporting anyway, so that's what I'm going to have to go and do. Oh, I've been avoiding it. Anyway, see you in a minute. Oh my god. Yes. I had absolutely no idea I was even remotely capable of anything like this. But guys, I have had so much fun pulling this together. This is so good. Oh, I can't wait to show you. But before we do anything, we need to do the honors. We need to officially open the area. Not that anybody cares, but we're open. Hooray! Oh man, welcome to Ravenburg. Look at this. And just to show you, by the way, it looks it's cool at night too, he says. There we go. Wait for the lights to kick in. Yeah, there you go. It's got a lighting package. Oh my god, guys, like, where do I even begin to show you? Because this is just full of all sorts of stuff. So yes, there is the sign. I've done lots of like little tweaky works and stuff, and I had them animated, I had them not animated, and I went for part animated, and I love it. Lots of steam everywhere as well, by the way, because this is the kind of vibe that I'm going for. The sort of effects that other parks who will remain nameless will probably let fade into obscurity, but no, we're going for steam. And then down here we got this little rotunda. Like, how cool is this? It's just all it is. It's made up of aquatic pipe pieces, and the support from the coasters, and then the boiler sunk in. It's just, love it. I love it, guys. I just can't even. Right, so here we go with the food unit. I was going to say, whatever building we're calling it, the chief beef. Toilets inside are all done. They are your typical Chacho toilets, and they're all kitted out steampunky. Ross Budgeon, by the way, makes a return. I don't know if you can hear the music, but it's one of his tracks. It's a track called Run. Inside here, then we've got ourselves our chief beef. I love it in here. It just looks so rustic and just so industrial. And then of course you've got your food units and stuff all along here. And I've just copied across the kitchen stuff, like just to give it some love. And the kitchen at the back here, I've decided to not do, only because I needed to do some very fancy and obscure clipping to make it work. But I have done the bits out the back there. And then of course we've got our synchronized ride. I didn't actually do any more to it. I tried and I did all sorts of like stuff, but it just didn't look right. It actually looked far better just with a cog. So I kept it as it is, and of course it's now got a name, Gears, and then of course it's ride sign and stuff. Love it. The queue also fits quite nicely. The queue actually works with all of the foliage and stuff around it. It kind of gives me the vibe of Samurai at Thought Park, you know. This is exactly how Samurai's is. The difference is Samurai would probably have a gap in the middle here where there would be some trees and foliage and whatever just to make some shade, but I've put some trees and stuff inside here just to give it, you know, a little bit of sightline obscurity, and that's kind of, change camera, that's kind of what's needed. So yeah, I mean, I'm happy with that. Then because we're going for the idea of a steampunk city, I've put the rails down into the path. I mean, I use this in the western area quite a lot, but yeah, I've gone for the brick. I wish we could recolor the brick or have a different cobblestone, so that we could have cobblestones and then have like pathways and stuff. But it's fine. Like, steampunk has got many subgenres, and I'm kind of leaning into the Blade Runner style, but without it being grimy. So yeah, if I could recolor the brick, I could probably make it a little bit darker or whatever. It'd be a slightly darker orange, but it's fine. I mean, it works. It looks a little bit clean, but it works. So that's all good. So coming on to the coaster, it's called Nova. Lots and lots of effects. Again, I had ideas of this not being animated and stuff, but it just needs movement. It needs this kinetic energy going on. So yeah, I love it. So there's the ride sign and stuff. Simple affair. It doesn't need to be much more than this. And then of course the queue line. Well, you've seen the queue line, but now it's all finished. I've kept it kind of clear, mainly foliage and stuff rather than anything particularly heavy on the old theming. And then just a few grasses and stuff, and remembering that nature knows no boundaries, so even if you do put fences in, it's fine for it to be growing through, because you know it does that in real life. So yeah, station then has had a little bit of touching up work done to it. I've just spotted these actually probably need to be moved down. Let me do that live editing. 1, 2, 3, move that down slightly. There we go, so it's not clipping through anymore. And then get rid of the UI again. There we go. That's better. So the station then done, dusted. I love it. It sits perfectly. It sits exactly how I wanted it to on the sight line, and the way that these trains just line up. Ah. Oh, yes. I did move the transfer track, by the way. I moved it to here. It needed a little bit of editing in terms of the layout and stuff, but it's fine. It now fits. This fits far better than it did. And of course you would have a block zone here that you'd pull the train forward and it would move back. Done. So happy days with that. I'm all right with that. And then of course I've just put in the path around the outside, which would be the main maintenance road, the service road and stuff. So that's now all done and dusted. Inside the station then, got your usual stuff. So we've got all of the baggage hold and the usual push points and whatever. I can't wait to, well, if we get animatronics, we must be getting some because we've got the Western animatronics back. So yeah, hopefully we're going to get the rest, you know, the business people and whatever, so we can start putting stuff back in. But it's fine for now. Then of course we've just got the row numbers and stuff. That was kind of needed in this kind of park. So I'm happy with that. The catwalk, yes, the catwalk. How good does that look now? I mean, is it perfect? No, it was never going to be perfect. But does it do what I want it to do? Yeah, it absolutely does. I ended up adding an iron girder on the outside just to sort of like tidy it off and line it off a little bit, and then I just attached it to the track underneath where I could, with the support beams shrunk down to 10%. And then just attached it that way. I've probably got far too many attachments, right? But I'm okay with that. I don't mind. The fact that it looks good from above is all it needs to do. So I'm happy with that. And then when you add in your catwalk clutter, you know, your lights and your electric stuff, it actually looks like the game comes with that catwalk. So yeah, it's a win for the corrugated flat piece. Well done, guys. We did it. I like it. I like it. Another thing I like is this gift shop. Oh yes. So many times, yes. Like even this roof was an accident because I had this little bit here where I wanted it to slant down, but I wanted it to also interact with this overhang as well. I ended up having to use a different piece of roof because I couldn't do that with the corrugated iron steel sheet. So I ended up just making it a trim across the top, and it looks all right, actually. I'm okay with it. Like, I don't hate it. It looks absolutely fine. However, from here, the gift shop looks incredible. Like, yes, that sightline itself is just perfect. I love it. Right? Absolutely adore it. I did decide to make this an entrance. I was playing with the area. It definitely felt like that needed to be an entrance, so that's exactly what I did. Now what that meant was when I then created this area, it needed a counter in this space as well. So we've now got 2 counters, or 2 areas that are like almost the pay points. I've used information points here, and then I've used actual gift shops and stuff. But then yeah, it's just a gift shop in here. Nothing particularly special. It's just it is what it is. And then inside this way, It's the gift shop, so I've just put posters and simple souvenirs, and then of course there is the photo units and whatever for guests to buy their photo as they come off the ride. And then elsewhere, all I've done here is I've just tidied this up. So I've continued the flowers and the foliage across the outside. I've then put the rotunda in the fountain. It is... Well, that doesn't look very central, but it was at one point. Don't know what's happened. I've obviously moved something at some point. But yeah, I've just tidied all of this up. It's kind of now lending itself quite nicely to how the future is going to develop. I mean, you can start to see how it's going to come through this way, right? How it's going to come narrower. And there's probably a space for a ride here. Talking of future rides, by the way, when I have finished this, I did sort of sit here and think, this synchronize, it's kind of dominated by the entire area. So in future, if we were to replace it, there's a number of rides you could put in and it feels right. But I'm glad I didn't go with the sundial. When I put the sundial back in just to test it, well, you can see for yourself. Let's do it. Flat rides, sundial. You can see how it actually it dominates the area too much, right? And there's just no real space for it. So I was really worried that this area was too big, and it's not until I've actually started to kit it out and put the stuff in that I'm like, yeah, I'm glad actually that I haven't. A couple of rides, by the way, that would fit in here quite nicely. You've got the Plymouth swing. I think that dominates the area a little bit too much, but it would fit. I'm kicking myself for not using the kickflip somewhere. That would have been the perfect addition. I did think, oh, could I actually like slot it in somewhere? But no, it's fine. We'll just have to let the area live as it is. But the kickflip would have been a good use on this one as well. What's the other one? Oh, the sky beam would work quite nicely in that space in the future. And the other one was the polarity, and I think that's probably the one that fits the best. So if I were to replace it and I weren't to use the kickflip, I think the polarity would be the one that I would use. So yeah, anyway, that's just a little bit of insight as to how I'm thinking about how the area might develop over time, but there isn't really much we can do. So there you go, guys. That's our steampunk area, Ravenburg. Welcome to it. Oh my god, thank you so much for getting to the end of this episode. I really do appreciate it. I hope you like it as much as I do. We are going to go for a ride. I will see you next week. Have a good week. Take care, guys. Bye bye. I forgot to show you the clock tower, so here is the clock tower. Ha 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 ha. Love it. I love it.